Hey guys, Evan here, the director, lead actor, and song producer of Heart and Soul, Tale as Old as Time. Now, if you know me, I love looking into the making of or the behind the scenes of projects that I like, or just movies and TV shows that I like, or even video games too. And I did a making of for Here We Go Again. I did a making of for Espresso. I'm planning to make a making of for Blackberry Pagoda, Tale of Mr. Controversy as well, but because this movie is relatively recent and it's actually my fastest growing video. I mean, it's my fastest growing, it's my most viewed movie so far and the most recent one that came out, which is great. I wanted to do just a making of just to kind of just capitalize on it, I guess. So, yeah, this is the making of Heart and Soul, Tale as Old as Time. All right, so for the song itself, I wrote it in I want to say 2020. I had like this old version like written in 2019, but I didn't really like it, so I reworked it in 2020. So what happened was what sparked the song was I think it was like 2020. I have feelings for this one girl at my old job, and we were just kind of talking, we were vibing for a bit, and then I shot my shot, and then what happened was she used the mental illness card to reject me. Now, before you call me a conservative shill, I'm all empathetic for mental illness. I have depression myself, but I just she said that she wasn't ready for a relationship. She has depression, all this, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, she was with she was with a guy, and I don't know. I part of me wants to give her the benefit of the doubt because we were both in high school and just immaturity and all that, but that just really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So that led me to write this song. That's where the chorus line really comes in, because I was making a point how, like, it seems like everyone else around her is all fine, but for her, she's struggling, but I don't know what to do with it because she used her mental illness to just to reject me, which I found pretty gross. So that's where the chorus came from. And really, like, a lot of the song is just like me kind of being like, I know you're struggling, but there's only so much I can do. So, that's kind of the crux of the song as far as the content. It's interesting because kind of like some of my older songs, I think the song lyrically is like a testament to how I was at that moment in my life. I feel like that in retrospect, a lot of that song is kind of like a little bit of a pity party in all honesty. And I mean, if I wrote it now, I wouldn't have been like that, or at least I would have been more subtle. But I don't think it's such a bad thing, because I think that in a way the song is kind of like a time capsule of how I was at that time. It's similarly in my on my first album, there's a song called Just One More, which was about which I wrote about like a couple days after my breakup at a couple years ago. And in retrospect, I would not recommend singing that song to your ex, because a lot of the lyrics are kind of possessive and kind of like, the whiny. But again, I was like 16 when I wrote the song, so I think that, I don't know, I think that it works. It works as is. So that's the story of the song itself as far as lyrics. Now, as far as actually composing the song, I think 2020 is why I knew that I wanted the da 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 da, like I knew I wanted that for the chorus and the da 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 in the verses, and then later on, I think 2020 and 2021, that's when I had the bridge, the da 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 da. That's why I thought of that. Now, 2021 is when I finalized most of the lyrics, and then 2022 is when I put that Instagram demo of just me playing the song on the piano. Now, it's funny story of that one. So I think like around the time is when I realized I need to kind of come out of my shell a little bit. So, it's like it's one of my I think it's my first time playing, my own original music. And, it was really nice. It really was. And, yeah, it was nice, like coming out of my shell to just play one of my own pieces for once. So 2022 is when I recorded that demo. Now, I don't think there's any like real progress on it, 2023 and 2024, but 2025 was when I, of course, recorded it. So what happened was, I was just in the middle of recording my second album, and originally I was in the basement of my school because there was a piano, and I was just messing around on it. I just recorded a demo, and originally I was going to save Heart and Soul for the third album, my upcoming one as of making this video, called it Enigma. I was going to save that for that album, but in retrospect, I think that, I want to say retrospect because it happened. I think that I realized that I need a lighthearted song to kind of be sandwiched in between MIA and Any Further, because I need like something to kind of like shift the tone. I feel like that if it just went from, one dark song to another dark song to another dark song, it's just kind of like such a downer. So I need like that lighthearted thing to reach to, have a good tone. So I decided to put Heart and Soul on the second album. I recorded it, and it's funny because originally I had no idea what I want to go with as far as the direction. I didn't know if I wanted to just do like just a rock song or what. But what happened was, when I was after I recorded the piano demo, I saw some bongos, or like just not it wasn't bongos, it was like a Congo drum down in the basement. And I decided that, why not play on it. And I played along on top of it. I thought that, hey, this sounds like a really cool, like, Marvin Gaye-esque, like, cookout kind of vibe. So I think I'm going to roll with it. So that's how I decided I want to do the song itself. Now, as for the movie, so of course the song came out, with the album, and the album came out in May of this year. As for the movie itself, so I think the conception of it started in, I want to say June, maybe July. I think it was June. Yeah, June. Because I remember that after I was done Mr. Controversy, after I was done the film for Blackberry Pagoda, I went straight to Heart and Soul. I know I had the little video for Thank You for Your Love, but that only took like a few days, so I knew that wasn't going to take that much planning. So the conception of it came in June, and I knew that I wanted to have like just kind of like the simple lovey-dovey kind of flick. I wanted something sensual, not sexual. If you don't know the difference, sensual is just something that's kind of like tender and kind of sweet, but still gets the idea across that it's romantic. Sexual is just what you think of, like provocative or just whatever. So to put in perspective, I wanted something Michael Jackson is that Prince. You know what I'm saying? So speaking of which, my inspiration for the music video or movie. See, me and my brother were arguing about this the other day. I say movie, I call it movie, but everyone else calls it music video. I really don't care, but music videos are types of movies. So there you go. So my inspirations were the walking sequence during the Thriller music video, and the little chase scene. It sounds really weird, but the little part where Freddie chases the one girl in Freddie Mercury's "I Was Born to Love You." And I even use that as a frame of reference for people who are interested in being it. Like those two, just the walk scene and the chase scene from both respective movies. Now, as far as the look of the movie, I wanted something kind of match In the Closet by Michael Jackson, like the whole sepia, black and white kind of thing. So that's what I wanted to do. As far as the look of the movie, that was my inspiration. So as far as development, what happened was, I think that, I can't remember if I did location scouting first or if I was trying to look for actresses first. But yeah, I knew for sure I wanted to film at the same park I filmed She Said She'll Be Back and my first album commercial. So I knew I wanted to film there. And it really sucks too, because I know I wanted to film at a band show, but the band show that is at that park literally got burned down, so I had to like find the nearest one. And of course the nearest one was like 30 minutes away from me, so I'm like, freaking go figure. But yeah, so I knew I wanted to film at that park and at another park that has a band show. So I got my locations down, and then as far as the actresses, so what I did was, first of all, originally, instead of doing like the 3 different girls kind of thing, I wanted to just have just one girl and just have like just a simple, lovey-dovey kind of thing. And so I just had that in mind when doing casting. So what I did was I just put a post on a few Facebook groups, just that said, hey, I'm looking for a lead actress, preferably in 20s or 30s or whatever, and who wants to be a love interest in my movie or in my music video. And what happened was, first, Caitlin, the blonde girl, she DM'd me on Facebook, expressing interest about it, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. But I just want some options just to, just to explore a bit. So what's funny is that my one friend, Marielle, who I previously worked with on, in a movie beforehand, she was my AD for another film I'm working on. She saw the post as well, and she recommended me Riley and Peyton. So Riley is the brunette, and Peyton is the black girl. So So I had options. There were some other options too. Like there were like two or three other girls that DM'd me as well, saying they're interested. One of them, she was cool, but she never got back to me after like, we talked about it, and the point is like she looked ghosted me. And this other girl, I mean, she was cool and all, she's really pretty, but she didn't have a way of transportation. So my best options were Caitlin, Riley, and Peyton. So, I talked to all three girls just to kind of like, feel them out personality wise, and just like, just tell them, just tell them why I have in mind for the movie. And, yeah, I mean, originally when I talked to them, I just had just one girl in mind, but then eventually, I find that all three of these girls are really cool and nice. And I thought that, maybe I can, do a twist of, the typical sensual kind of walk and talk, and just have three different women, but me playing like three different kind of characters. So I thought that, hey, let's just have all three of them in there, because why not? And I think it worked out well. I think that the direction I chose in the end of the day, is more unique than just a simple just walk and talk. I think that it really like kind of like adds character to it. And I think that the whole part where I'm like lonely at the end, my character's lonely at the end, it works a lot more having three different people I'm kind of bouncing around with rather than just one person. It just kind of like seems a little bit more realistic, but I'll get to that later on. So that's how I found the actresses. Now, how I found Patrick and Haley, or HG as she's credited. I call her Home Goods as a joke. So Patrick was the mock bass guitarist, and Haley was the mock electric guitarist. So funny story about that. So I knew that I wanted to have like a band sequence at the end of it, but originally I was just gonna have like just animated band members, but quite frankly, I didn't really feel like going the extra mile for like stuff really I didn't really need to. So I just asked Marielle if she knew she just knew some friends who could just pop by and help me with the film, and she recommended me Patrick, and then Patrick recommended me Haley as well. So yeah, I got them as well. They're both really nice. They're really cool. And yeah, the guitars that I had in the video, I actually made them myself. I literally just went to Walmart. I got some foam board, I got an X-Acto knife, and just crafted the guitars myself. They're really flimsy, but it's okay. They're just little props. And then, of course, the drummer is my crew member, Liam, who was one of my camera operators. But anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. So that was just how I found the actors and actresses. Now, as far as the idea of the movie, or like my purpose, it's very interesting because, like, when I show people my movie, it's like the first movie where like everyone actively asks me like what's the inspiration behind the movie. I always find that interesting because I think that something that really sells the movie is the sense of familiarity with it. I will get back to that later on because there's something that's kind of sad with it. But anyway, there's a sense of familiarity with it that I think resonates with some people. And yeah, again, it's very interesting because like when I did Taylor Mr. Controversy, no one asked me like, where this idea come from. They just, like the movie. Well, for this one, people actively ask me like, where does this idea come from? So I find that kind of interesting. But there are two main goals that I wanted to achieve with this movie. Number one was to show that like the movie is supposed to be kind of like an allegory of how a lot of guys who specifically boast about how many girls they date, how many girls they sleep with, they're the ones that kind of do it to mask the insecurities or the ego, and kind of do it to just, and they feel very insecure at the end of the day. And all in all, like I've noticed like a lot of guys who just pride themselves on being as many people as possible. They end up just feeling very lonely at the end of it. Like no shade, I'm a huge Queen fan, but take Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury slept with a lot of men, and he prided himself on being like a sex god or whatever. But it's very clear to me that he was very insecure, and he felt very, very lonely. I do feel that. I get that feeling totally. So I'm not trying to criticize him or nothing. And I'm still a Queen fan, so don't think anything of me. But but I just noticed that a lot of times, just when guys boast about how many girls they're with, they just kind of do it just to mask like how lonely they are. So I wanted to have that concept in the movie. Hence why I had like three different women, and at the end I ended up getting none of them. I was just kind of lonely. Now there's one other interpretation of it that I will get to the end of it. That we'll get to later. That actually got hit home for me in the meta sense, but anyway, I'll get to that later. So that was one of the main goals I want to have, to portray that reality. And number two is, all right. So here's where it gets interesting. So I want to ask y'all something. When was the last time you've seen a guy like me play a heartthrob. So what I mean is that, when you see like a sexy guy or a heartthrob in TV or movies, whatever, you see like, a stereotypical, skinny generic white dude, and, no shade or nothing. I mean, that's just how reality is. But moreover, to my point, I feel like that something I've learned, actually I have to learn this hard way plenty of times, something that I've learned in the last couple of years, honestly just most of my life really, is that a guy like me, a big black dude, and no, I'm not trying to get into identity politics, so conservatives, you don't have to click off the video. I feel like that a lot of times I'm stuck in a box, if you will. And to be fair, it is applied to everyone in some sense, but I'm just saying from my perspective, I feel like that people either expect me to be hyper intimidating or hyper aggressive, or just a goofy butt of joke. So people either expect me to be like Biggie Smalls, or they expect me to be like Drewski or Kenan Thompson. And that's, not the end of the world or anything. I am a naturally like funny guy to begin with, so that's not inherently, a wrong thing to observe. But I'm just saying how, I want it to be like, I want to have like a role reversal in some way. I want to show that a guy like me doesn't have to stick with, being the aggressor or being the goofy guy. Now, again, mind you, I am a funny guy. I did, make the film environment fun, and I have my moments of being a hothead. You can ask my brothers about that, but heck, you can ask. It's funny because on one of the days of shooting, I almost crashed out. But anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that I want to play the part that, and nobody I'm seeing is making someone like me play. Like, I want to be like just a heartthrob who gets girls for once. And, you can say you can boost my ego. You can say whatever you want. I really don't care. I'm just saying that I've noticed that a guy like me usually is put in two camps and is never seen as a guy that just can get girls, So that was my main goal with going into making this movie. Now, whether I accomplish that is up to your interpretation, but that was just one of my goals. All right, so originally I was going to talk about each day of shooting, like in each day individually, but honestly, a lot of it just kind of blends in. I mean, we just had like a lot of fun. I want to make like a very fun environment because, not only do I just, I feel like I'm a decently sociable person as is, but my mindset is if people aren't having fun in making films, they're less likely to do it. So I'm all about having the environment just fun, chill, and just making the most of it. But I will say, so it took me about 5 days of shooting. The first day was just me, and my entire crew was this. The actors were, of course, me, Caitlin, Peyton, and Riley. Riley, then Patrick, and Homegoods, Haley, and Haley and Liam. Liam played the drummer. However, my entire crew was it was me. Of course, I was the director. My friend Declan, he was just a camera operator. My friend Alex, who's another camera operator. Liam, who's another camera operator. And then my other friend Alan, he was another camera operator too. Most of them came like separate days. Not like I had like one day where all of them were there at the same time. But that was my crew on set. And then of course my friend Marielle, she was the one that helped me with casting. I call her like my casting director because she really helped me out with that one. So for day one, it was just miscellaneous shots. It was just me and Declan. And yeah, like some of the shots during the how much can one take, we did that on the first day. Honestly, a lot of the just shots that are just me, I just did them just on day one because I didn't feel like wasting people's time on days where they were there just do shots of me. So I did a lot of miscellaneous shots by myself on day one. Now, day two, it was a little interesting. So it was me, Declan, Alex, Liam, and Caitlin for the start of it, or just at the first park. And then later on, we all went to the other park at the band shell, and we met up with Patrick and Haley. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting too because this is my first movie where I didn't know my actors or actresses before actually filming. Like every other movie I've done, I just got friends I've known for a while and just asked them to be in my movie. But this one was the first time where I only knew these girls just from Instagram DMs. So, I'm curious like how, Caitlin, Peyton, and Riley were going to be in person, but they were all cool. So that was day two. Now day three was, of course, day two, I filmed stuff with Caitlin, and then, later on, I filmed the band stuff with Patrick, Haley, and Liam. So day three was me, Peyton, Alan, and Alex, I believe. Yes. So anyone else missing? No. Because I remember I gave Declan a break because I kind of felt bad for him for driving all the way to the park, then all the way to that park, and then all 30 minutes back home. I kind of want to give him a break, just save him some gas. So it was me, Peyton, Alan, and Alex. And yeah, I mean, again, like for Peyton, I didn't know how she was in person, and she was great. Day 4 was I didn't ask. Oh shoot, I forgot about Josh. Oops. So Josh was another person, another camera operator per se. Sorry, Josh, forgot about you. So, but yeah, I don't really have like most of my crew there. I think either they're unavailable, I just didn't want to pester them because I didn't want them to spend more money on gas or whatever. So it was just me, Riley, and Josh. And again, Riley, I didn't know her until we talked on Instagram, but I didn't know her as a person until filming. Now, one thing I will know is kind of like what I mentioned earlier. So there was like one woman. I can't speak. There was one moment where I almost crashed out, or not like crashed out, but I was getting frustrated. So, so what happened was, Josh, I love the kid, but he played too much. So, there was one part where Josh was just kind of running around with my phone after a take, and I was just getting frustrated because I was tired. I was just ready to just get it done. So I was trying really hard not to scream at him, but thankfully I didn't, because I didn't want to look like the typical angry black man with Riley. But still, but yeah, that was one thing that I distinctly remember. And then that was day 4, and day 5 was just me. I didn't have any of my crew or nothing. I was just recording just a little more miscellaneous shots. The one shot with me commanding the oh my god, the orchestra, or the two people in the orchestra, I guess. That one shot was just me, like, just waving my hands and just messing around. That was I did that on the last day as well. So yeah, it was 5 days of shooting. All of them took about, I'll say, like maybe 2-3 hours at most. I'm a very time efficient director. I'm all about having fun, but I don't like wasting time. Like, I'm all for making a shot good, and we did plenty of takes. It's not like I just half did anything. Like, I'm all for having quality takes. But I don't like wasting time, so we can have fun, but I don't feel like being, unless I really absolutely have to, I don't really feel like being on set for 7 or 8 hours on end if I don't have to. So yeah. All right, so that was shooting. I think that all took, that was like what, 2 or 3 weeks or so, I want to say, all together, 2-3 weeks. Yeah, it was like all late July, early August, I think. Again, my memory's kind of hazy on this, but still. So, after shooting, of course, was editing. So, the thing with editing is, it's one of those things where it takes so much out of me to actually get started on it. But, when I do make some momentum, I make a lot of momentum. So, editing was relatively quick. It took about I want to say 2-3 days or something like that to put everything together. I did the animated bits as well. The whole the first thing I did as far as editing was the semi-animated bits with the people. I just drew those on. I just drew all the people on MS Paint. So that was relatively simple. I was thinking about doing an actual animated bit, but I just didn't feel like doing it, to be honest. I was just kind of lazy on that part. But I just did all those characters in MS Paint. And yeah, so I'm trying to think what else as far as editing. I forgot. There was another frustration towards the end of it. So when I was exporting the movie, I'm thinking, okay, we're all good to go, we're all hunky dory. But then there was sort of an exporting problem. So some people say it's noticeable. Some people say I can't speak. Some people say it's noticeable. Some people say it's not that noticeable. So I don't know. It kind of depends on what device you're watching the movie on. But depending on the device, there's a little bit of a sync issue with the video. Like, if you're watching the movie on a lower spec device, like a lower spec phone or a TV, then there's a little bit of a sync issue as far as the audio and visual. But if you watch it with higher specs, I heard that it works just fine. When I watch on my laptop, it works just fine. But then when I watch it on my phone, there's a little bit of a lag issue. So I remember I was extremely frustrated with that. So I was trying so hard to do everything I can to have the final video not have the sync problem, no matter what platform you're watching it in. But unfortunately, I just cannot find a way. And yeah, so I kind of just gave up on I kind of just gave up on it at the end. I think I ended up just putting something in the description, just saying, hey, there's a little bit of sync issue if you have this on lower specs. So that was one thing that really frustrated me towards the end of it. So, but yeah, I got the movie out on last Saturday as of making this. So September was it 5th, I said? Yeah, September 5th. I went all out in advertising. This is my first movie where before I put ads promoting the movie and all that, but this is why I wanted to put a trailer. Oh, that reminds me. Another person I want to credit for this is my new editor, Alexa. He's a guy from Serbia, and he emailed me expressing interest about working with me a couple months ago, and yeah, he edited this cool trailer for me, and he's a really cool guy, and I wanted to credit him as well I said credit I said credit. I was going to say credit, but I meant to say making. I'm way off. Sorry, I've been talking for 25 minutes. Bear with me here. Or 26, whatever. You get I've been talking for almost 30 minutes. You get the idea. So, the movie came out. As of making this, it has almost 300 views. Let me check real quick. It has almost 300 views. It's my fastest growing music video or movie I've made so far. It's people are having a ball with it. People are telling me that they really enjoy it, which is great. And I'm overall very proud of how it came out. Now, I want to talk about the aftermath a bit. So one thing I want to mention is like I mentioned earlier, people have been telling me about they've been asking me what was the idea for the film or this and that, and people are also telling me about their interpretation of it. And most people's interpretation is more or less the same as I intended. They kind of saw it as this guy who wanted to be with all these girls and only ended up being alone. So that was the idea. Now, my one homie actually told me that his interpretation of it was that it was a guy who had to switch up how he was to 3 different girls, and then when he actually is true to himself, he ends up being lonely. And I don't know, that just kind of hit hard for me, not gonna lie. Because actually I think why it hit so hard for me is I think that I wonder if I made I had that in mind subconsciously in some way. I mean, I know that my vision was what I said. I wanted the big black dude to be the role reversal, and I wanted the whole aspect of guys boasting only ended up being alone. I want that to still be there, but I kind of wonder subconsciously was the whole thing of me being different characters just to appease the people, and then being true to myself is not enough. I wonder if that was just kind of done in a subconscious way. I don't know. Again, I want to have the 3 different costumes just to vary it up, just to make it interesting. But now that he mentioned it, I kind of wonder did I really have that in mind subconsciously? So I don't know, that when he said that really kind of hit home for me in the medicine. So I'm not trying to have this whole pity party or nothing. It's just, it is what it is. But when he said that from his perspective, he saw me changing myself for other people, and then when I'm true to myself, I'm lonely. That just really just kind of got to me personally. But I mean, no, nothing against him or nothing. He's still my homie. He didn't say anything bad. It's just for me, that just really just I don't know, just kind of hit me in the meta sense. As far as anything else, let me do another voiceover because I'm getting tired. Now, as far as advertising it, one thing I also kind of struggle with is I kind of struggle with self-doubt a lot. So what I did for advertising as well, like I said, I went all out. I put it on Instagram. I had the trailer edited by my homie Alexa. I even went on my college campus and put posters around, and some of them even got taken down, but whatever. And I just want to go all out when it comes to advertising the movie. And it kind of got to a point where I'm thinking to myself, is my ego, I think the self-doubt just kind of came into play here. But I was thinking to myself, is my ego really getting the best of me with this? I don't know. There was a part of me that kind of wonders, it's cool to advertise yourself, it's cool to advertise your movie, but is it earned? Those part of me that kind of felt it was unearned. Now, thankfully, Caitlin's such a great friend. So, I was telling her about this, and she was kind of encouraged me to, not hold myself back, and just there's nothing, I cannot speak. There's nothing wrong with advertising yourself. You should be getting yourself out in the open. And, actually, it really did mean a lot to me that, someone kind of encouraged me not to hold myself back. So, I want to go all out with advertising. And in truth be told, part of me, there is a part of me is just like, if people think I have a massive ego for doing this, for flashing my face everywhere, then so what? I feel like that so much of my life, I've been trying to tell myself that I'm not, like, whatever I do is not good enough or this and that. I try to hold myself back ultimately. And I think that once I get out of that mindset, once I start really caring if people think I have a huge ego or not, then, I'm going to flourish, So that's one thing I was thinking about too. Like, I am conscious. I am conscious of people's perception of me, and I always want to be humble, but at a certain point it's like, I personally, I want to change the stigma of the big black dude being seen as just either intimidating or goofy. I want to, like, show that a guy like me can be more than what people expect me to be, and if I got flex my ego a bit in order to achieve that, then so be it. So all in all, I just want to say that just thank you to my crew, my cast, my three actresses are wonderful people, really pretty, wonderful ladies. I thank you, Patrick and Haley, for helping me with the band sequence. Also Liam too. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this movie came out. I'm happy people are enjoying it. I'm happy it's getting some traction to it. And overall, there's plenty more to come. There's more to come. I will, like I said in my documentary, the Road to 20, my hashtag Road to 20 video, this is just the start. I am not going anywhere. I'm resilient. I will do whatever I can to better the world with my art. So, yeah.